Hello, everyone. Happy Thursday. Welcome to Thought for Thursday. You know that this is considered to be a part of Leveling Up the podcast. It is the portion of the podcast that we do on Thursday nights. We come to you bringing you 15 minutes, power packed minutes of an intriguing problem or something that we need to settle, something that we can formulate some tips and some secrets and some technique around so that we can live and be in a better place in life. As you know, we focus on the things that are pain points for us. And we talk about five things in particular, and we give five tips for how we can improve your situation, your life, your circumstance. So tonight, I talked about, or the teaser that I put out there is, why is it that we as women, in particular, I'm speaking with my ladies, why is it that we frequently don't feel that we are deserving of the finer things in life? Why is that? Why do we feel that others can have it? We can admire what they have, we can appreciate what they have, but somehow there are some of us who just feel like we are not deserving of it. What's the reason behind that? I want to talk about that just a little bit tonight and give you some tips on abandoning that way of thinking and going for the finer things in life and realizing that indeed you are deserving of them. So, why is it that we sometimes feel this way? Well, one of the first reasons, we've been conditioned to put others first. I frequently talk about how we as women, we're nurturers and providers and those who make things happen. And we frequently put other people before us. We put children before us. We put spouses before us. We put parents, you name it, the job. We will make sure that we get done whatever is necessary. And somewhere in there, we have been kind of conditioned to believe that it's appropriate to always put others first and not see ourselves as kind of being at a point where we deserve to get some of the things that we are really entitled to. From a young age, we're taught the things to do, to be caregivers to our families or friends, so forth and so on. And after years and decades of doing things like that, we just prioritize everyone but ourselves. So that is one reason behind why we feel that we're not deserving of the finer things in life. Why? What's another reason? Why we carry guilt and shame for whatever. And guilt is a very heavy burden. And it's one that many of us bear, especially when it comes to taking care of ourselves. We might think, if I do this for me, I'm being selfish, or I shouldn't spend money on that when there are other responsibilities. This guilt is what keeps us from believing that we deserve more than just the basics. Why? What's another reason? Well, we doubt our worth. And we've talked about this before. And self-worth is really something that we all struggle with at times. And society doesn't always make it easy for us, does it? Maybe we've kind of internalized messages that tell us that we're too old, or we're too old to pursue something luxurious, or we've convinced ourselves that we're not successful enough to pursue those things. Our self-worth is often, or we often tie our self-worth to what we think we've achieved or what others think of us, rather than the fact that we simply deserve good things because we are who we are, no matter who that is. I always talk about being uniquely yourself, right? And that being just enough. What's another reason? Well, some of us, we've been taught to be modest. There's a myth that modesty means not allowing yourself to enjoy nice things. And so many of us really do feel uncomfortable acknowledging that we want more. We kind of shrink ourselves and downplay our desires, believing that modesty is really synonymous with worthiness. Well, guess what? That is a misconception, and that's definitely wrong. What's another reason? Fear of judgment. Yeah, let's face it. Sometimes we all struggle, with what we shouldn't, but frequently we struggle with what others are going to think. We're afraid of how others perceive us. We worry that if we start kind of treating ourselves to finer things, people will think we're showing off or that we've become too full of ourselves. We've been taught to stay small, right? I mean, I'm sure a lot of us this resonates with a lot of us. We've been taught to stay small and to blend in. But guess what? As you know, whenever I bring you something and I start to pull out the reasons behind why we have some of the thoughts that we shouldn't have, I always give you tips and resources around pulling you out of that mindset and thinking in another way. So we should not be concerned. And it's easy enough to say that, right? We shouldn't be concerned with what others think. It's easier said than done. Let's talk about some things that we can do to pull us out of the mindset of thinking that we don't deserve the finer things in life. What are some of the things we can do? Well, I'll be honest, the things that I'm going to talk about, we've already discussed many of them, and definitely this one. Recognize that you have value outside of whatever role you're playing. You have value no matter what you do, who you are. Just the fact that you are you is enough to establish value for yourself. So, what am I saying we should do in order to be able to recognize that? Well, you're not just a mother, you're not just a spouse, you're not just an employee, you are a whole person. And I need you to understand that with unique talents and passions and desires, you really need to consciously start focusing in on who you are. Start seeing your value as something that exists independent of those roles that you're playing. And for many of us, we play a lot of roles. You're worthy just simply because you are here, just because you are designed, put together, and here because of God. That alone is enough to help you to see exactly what I'm talking about here. So, what else? What is another reason why, or something else that you can do in order to bring yourself to the point where you realize, yeah, I know that really and truly, I definitely do deserve to be entitled and deserve to see some of the things, the finer things in life. Well, one of the things that you may want to do is challenge the guilt and the shame. I already talked about the fact that we have those. Well, challenge those. Next time you feel guilty about doing something for yourself, ask yourself, well, why do I feel this way? Why do I feel that I can't do something for myself? Did somebody tell me that? Is that something I've been taught? Is it because I think that I should just, put my most valuable resources elsewhere and I'm really not deserving of them? Look at why you feel the way that you feel. And I've said already that often our guilt is really rooted in some old beliefs that really no longer serve us, things that we need to let go of and push behind us. Challenge these thoughts. That's what I want you to do. Challenge these thoughts and remind yourself self-care and self-investment are not acts of selfishness. I'll say that again. Self-care and self-investment are not acts of selfishness. You have to start to reprogram your mind, reprogram those thoughts so that you can believe these things, even if you have to get up and tell yourself something like that every day until it really starts to go past here and to sink into your heart. Self-care, they're not selfishness, but they're really survival. They're an act of survival and of growth. What else can you do? You can treat yourself as you treat others. If you stop and think about what you do for others, how does that compare to anything that you really do for yourself? That's something to think about. We are so quick to uplift and care for people in our lives, but how often do we do that for ourselves? Let's start treating ourselves with the same kindness, the patience, the generosity that we, sometimes give those around us. Give ourselves that same love. Love ourselves, okay? Frequently, we don't love ourselves. That's a whole other conversation. And maybe we'll dedicate a whole new podcast to just that, working on loving ourselves more. This can be as simple as taking time to rest, or as extravagant as buying something you've always wanted. You determine how it is you start to pursue those finer things that probably up until now you have thought perhaps that you're really not worthy of pursuing. What else can you do to move and to change that frame of mind? Surround yourself with affirming people. Put yourself around others who believe that they are worthy of the finer things in life. Put yourself around others who are going to speak positivity and speak value to you and speak your worth to you. It's so important to have the right environment surrounding you in order to think the thoughts that are uplifting and the thoughts that you need to think. When you surround yourself in that way, you have a circle of people who celebrate you, who thrive and congratulate your successes and encourage you to live fully, and not just, as I always say, not that mediocre life, but one that thrives. And when you have people in your life who remind you of your worth, it becomes easier to believe it. You're hearing it all the time. So it begins to sink in a little better. It really does start to take to your heart, and you start to feel, okay, I deserve some good things to come my way. And the fifth thing I want to tell you today, the fifth thing that you can do to start to change that frame of mind where you think you aren't deserving of the finer things and to think I am worthy, is to start small and build up. Sometimes we think that if we can't do the huge, major, the thing that is going to be a major, major investment, that you have to start right out of the gate doing something that is going to be absolutely monumental. And nothing can be further from the truth. You don't have to jump straight into luxury vacations and, very, very, very high end designer clothes. If you feel that that might be too big right now, start with the small indulgences. Maybe take the time to spend the morning just reading, having coffee somewhere in a nice, quaint little boutique type shop or coffee shop where you can just spend quality time with yourself, or a special dinner that you've been eyeing with someone or by yourself, whichever thing you feel is going to bring you the value that you deserve. And as you get more comfortable with the idea of treating yourself, you'll find that your belief in your own worth really will begin to grow. And that's what we want to do. We want to begin to grow and believe that we are worthy of these things. We can pursue the finer things in life. We do have value, and we are worthy of pursuing those things that perhaps we have just been focused on making sure that others have. All right. So that's it. Like you probably knew when you came into this, you knew I was going to say, you're worthy of those finer things. Go ahead and start working on changing that mindset. The finer things in life aren't just for the others. All right. That's what we've been getting at here. They're for you too. You deserve to embrace them, not because you've earned them by working yourself into oblivion or, working your fingers to the bone, but because you are inherently worthy, because of who you are. You are a king's kid. You are worthy of good. You are worthy of better. You are worthy of best. And it's time to believe that, to live it, and to unapologetically pursue that, because you do deserve it. All right. So, yeah, go for those finer things. Know that you're definitely worthy of them. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Remember, you are awesome, wonderful, just the way you are. You have been uniquely designed and built for a purpose that only you can fulfill. Go out, work, understand, do what's necessary to move in that purpose, to live a purposeful life, one that thrives, one that abandons mediocrity, and one that pursues the finer things in life. Why? Because you are worthy of them. So go for it. Again, thanks so much for listening in. You can find all of the Thought for Thursday tapings on my YouTube channel, and I will also be placing them on the podcast channels as well. So go out, be audaciously, boldly, confidently yourself, because guess what? You are the best person to be that. We need your imprint, that unique imprint that only you have. Go out and touch something, make it better for you, make it better for those around you. Go for the finer things in life. You deserve them. All right. Have a great rest of the day, the evening, whatever time, the morning you are watching this. And thanks so much for tuning in.